Don, and while we're talking, we're looking, of course, at the Irish side out on the famous Melbourne AFL Park, and they're warming up down there. And, of course, a lot of people will take a close-up shot of some of those Irish players, and they will see as if, for instance, on screen a few moments ago, Bobby O'Malley looked as if he had a black eye. No, he doesn't have a black eye, we can assure you. It is just that they have put blacking under their eyes because the very, very powerful lights here at Melbourne will be shining a little bit later. A great dry day here in Melbourne as well, Don. The temperature wasn't as high today as it has been. It was only down to 20, and I can tell you at 7:30 in the evening here in Melbourne, it's nice and cool, and the Irish boys are loving it.
Yes, it's a very balmy night. Now, tell me about the Grimley boys, Colin. They have a big reputation here already in the Ireland team. They're very big fellows. They're twins, of course, from County Armagh.
Yes, indeed, and the difficulty for all of us calling the game tonight, Don, will be to try and figure out which one of them is on the park. Little side story about it. I talked to Eugene McGee and I said, how can you distinguish between Mark and John? He said, I actually don't. I just put up on the paper, he said, S or J or M, he said, and one of them will come. The one we're looking at the moment, that looks to me...
Now, which one is it?
That looks to me as if it could be John. I think John is a little bit broader in the shoulders, and that's the only way I can distinguish them. I see them in the hotel this morning, and I was trying to figure them out, and it completely baffles me, Don. But I definitely think that that is Big John, and they're looking forward. They're having a great time here on the tour. The hospitality has been excellent in Australia, and they're really having a lot of fun.
Well, we might also mention, Colin, that the series has been made possible by QBE Insurance. The players are playing for the QBE Insurance Cup, and QBE, one of the great insurance companies of Australia, and of course now operating in Ireland, a very proud company, and it's great to have them supporting the growth of international football here.
Yes, and of course, a little bit later on, Don, we're going to be taking a look at the rules and the regulations of the game, because that has they have changed a little bit. We're playing international football, which is part Australian rules and part Gaelic. So we'll have to explain to you a few of the rules. In the meantime, we're looking at some of the Irish players warming up. There's the vice captain behind Plunkett there, and they're just knocking the ball around, warming up, as we said. Stephen O'Brien, the Cork man, and of course he's very proud to be out here because he has an All-Ireland medal after this year. So I'll tell you what we'll do, Don. While we're watching the Irish out there, let's take a look at the teams and see what they have in store for us tonight.
The Grimley frame packs almost 100 kilos, stands tall at 188 centimetres, and comes with a mean reputation. It's bad luck for Australia that there's not just one Grimley, but two, identical twins from County Armagh. These good old boys give the Fighting Irish a chance to stand up to the aggressive Aussies in the forthcoming series.
Not really. We don't really do anything wrong.
Is that right? Well, in fact, your reputation precedes you, because some people have nicknamed you here down under as the Brothers Grimm because you provide a bit of aggression in the team. Is that a fair comment?
No, we're softies.
Yeah.
The Irish squad, to be sure, is packed with skill rather than muscle. Jack O'Shea, a 33-year-old from County Kerry, is a legendary figure in Gaelic football and veteran of international composite football. Coach Eugene McGee led the Irish in 1987 and is keen to avenge that 2-1 series defeat on home soil. The key player in McGee's plans is Jim Stynes, who grew up playing Gaelic football in Dublin before being recruited to Australian rules. His knowledge of both games will be invaluable.
Now, the Aussies are very tough, and they were a lot bigger than the Irish were, and so they said, well, let's roughen them up and slow them down a bit, which the Irish didn't. They were a bit shocked early on, and if a fight started, the Irish didn't really react to it straight away and didn't know what to do, really, because it's not really in the game, because if you do anything in a Gaelic football, you'll be sent off.
The order-off rule applies in the composite game, but Australian coach David Parkin, a novice in this international code, is worried more about the pace of the game. The Australians will rely on skipper Terry Danaher to help his teammates from the AFL adapt to the international game. According to Danaher, the pride of playing for Australia is all the incentive he needs.
Oh, I think it's great. Yeah, I'm very proud and honoured to, it's the only way that we can get to represent our country, and particularly against Ireland. The Irish are very competitive, and they certainly are going to be pretty hard to knock off out here.
Yes, the Australian captain there, Terry Danaher, and he asked me to say hello to all his relatives in County Limerick, and he's hoping to be over there in the next couple of years to see you all. Well, the Australian side out on the park, Don, warming up. Was this a little bit of a play and a ploy by David Parker to keep the Irish waiting out there?
Well, David Parkin is a very experienced league coach. He's played in premiership teams here in Australia, and he's a very, very experienced coach. Yes, there'll be a little bit of psychological warfare going on there at the moment. There's no doubt about that.
What about this lineup that we're looking at? Very, very strong. And, of course, Gavin Brown, the number 12 there, a star player this year, wasn't he?
Yes, Gavin Brown is commonly recognised, Colin, as being one of the future superstars. In fact, he is a superstar now. He's only a very young man. He played in the Collingwood Premiership team just a couple of weeks ago. He's a fantastic player, and he will be one of the greats of Australian football. Michael Mitchell, the player who comes from the Richmond Football Club, played very well in the practice match at Albury last Sunday. He's a very quick player. He'll do well. And Tony McGuinness, the other midfielder there, he'd be well known to Irish supporters of international football. He's very quick. And incidentally, he has just announced that he will be going from the Footscray Football Club to play for the new Adelaide team in the AFL next year.
I actually saw them training last night, Don, as you and I were out here, and I must say that this man had what would be said in Ireland as a magnificent left peg. He has a cracking left foot. I didn't see him do an awful lot of things with his right foot, but I can tell you the Irish will definitely have to watch out for him. The number 9 in the Australian side, Tony McGuinness, as you said, moving from Footscray to Adelaide, but it got a beautiful left foot. And the other strange thing I noticed on last night was that whereas all of the other Australians were trying to go for what we will call overs in this game, he was going for goal.
Yes, well, he's, as we said before, Colin, he's played the game, so he knows where the 6 points are. Number 32 on the screen there is Stuart Lowe. Stuart Lowe is the centre-half forward for the St Kilda Football Club, and he is renowned as the best marking player in the league. He has enormous hands. He could just about, mark a bag of spuds, as you might say, at Ireland.
The size of his shovel.
The size of his shovel. So he is a tremendous high mark, and he'll be a key player there. He's on the screen now, number 32, big fellow, and one of the big players in AFL. Danny Frawley there, number 2, and Malaxos is there now at the moment, and the Australian team plays resplendent in their new rig, we might say. Yes. Really keen.
Yes, and that's David Bain, the man from the Brisbane Bears man, lying down on the ground as well. Yes, a lot of exciting things to look forward in this game, Don, and a lot of people will be looking at the clashes out there. But as I said, David Parkin was keeping a lot of his plans close to his chest. The other man, of course, that the Irish will easily be able to pick out, and people right around Australia are easily able to pick out, is Mel Hannah. Another great season for him.
Yes, Mil Hannah is a Carlton Football Club player, very dashing player, very quick player, and he'll be easily recognised by our friends around Australia and in Ireland because he is totally bald, and he's a little bit like a young Yul Brynner.
Yes, indeed. Well, the Australian side warming up down there. One of them, in actual fact, it looked as if he was yawning. It looked like Dean Anderson, but I don't think it is. Not at this hour of the evening.
Matthew Campbell, the Australian goalkeeper here, he's fitted into the goalkeeping role very well. Has played against Ireland before, and I know David Parkin is expecting big things from him tonight in the first test.
Yeah, and of course, Don, he's a very big goalkeeper. We in Ireland are used to seeing goalkeepers by about 5'8", 5'9". We've had some great ones over the year, but this man is 6'1".
I noticed Millen Hannah just running behind the back of the net there, but we'll certainly see, I'm sure, plenty of him tonight. And there, of course, is Terry Danaher, one of the really great names in Australian football, a great footballing family. And, of course, Terry Danaher featured in a pretty heavy clash in our grand final against his teammate tonight, Gavin Brown. But they're friends tonight. They're playing in the same team.
That's right. One of the other absentees that a lot of us were looking forward to, Don, was, of course, Paul Salmon, Fish, as you call him out here. Paul, unfortunately, out of the side tonight.
Yes, well, he unfortunately got a bit of a knock in the game up at Albury, the practice match. And I might add to for our Irish viewers, it wasn't caused by an Ireland player. In fact, it was an accidental knock from young David Bain. He got a bit of a knock on the head, so he's not in the team. But I'm sure he'll be saddling up for the second test, Colin.
Yes, I'm sure he will, but they're warming up down there, and very shortly, of course, they'll be they'll be called up. But in the meantime, Don, we'll thank you for all of that. And now let's take a look and bring all our viewers up to date with the rules of international football.
Gaelic football and Australian rules appear to be similar, but some fundamental differences made framing the rules for the test matches an extremely difficult task. Gaelic football, for example, has no tackling. In Aussie rules, almost anything goes. The round ball and rectangular field of Gaelic football are hardly compatible with the oval-shaped ball and field of Australian rules.
Still Collingwood repel the attacks. Jamie Turner.
In the inaugural Test match series in Ireland in 1984, tackling was forbidden, and the composite game adopted the round ball and playing field of Gaelic football. The Australians could adapt to the round ball, but the ban on tackling was too much. For the 1986 Test series in Australia, tackling was allowed, but as in 1984, confusion over what was permitted resulted in some fiery clashes.
And it's on again.
For the 1987 series, once again in Ireland, authorities further modified the tackling rules. A tackle between the shoulder and the hip was legal, but throwing an opponent to the ground was penalised. Pinning an opponent's arms during the tackle was also outlawed.
O'Rourke chips it in short. Daly's got it.
Test football now features the best of both games. High marking and handballing from Australian rules, the constant running and exciting goal-mouth action of Gaelic football. The scoring system awards 6 points for a goal into the net, 3 points for a goal over the crossbar, and 1 point for a behind. Both sides are happy with the compromises.
The advantage they have is obviously use and control of the round ball. The advantage we have is our game is a more physical game in terms of tackling, and I think it's hard for them when they're dodging evasion and those sort of skills have been paramount in their mind, for them to convert back into thinking defending and actually putting tackles on in that way. I think that's a fairly difficult concept to develop, but it's probably no more difficult than us having to go from the oblong ball to the round ball.
The Irish are very skillful with the round ball, and that's the advantage they've got. Plus, it's probably a little bit closer to the Irish game. But you know, the Aussies are a lot stronger, and they're better in the air. You know, they're taller, and their attitude is a lot. You know, they're professionals.
Big Jim Stynes, and of course the advantage tonight is that Big Jim Stynes is full forward for Ireland. One other thing that we will point out to you in commentary, Don and I, when we're calling the game, is the umpiring and the scoring. When the ball goes into the net, you will see the umpire at the back of the goal wave 2 red flags. But now, the national anthem. Park here in Melbourne, getting set for what should be a great struggle in this first test match, Don. And of course it's time for us to bring in a man who is well known to struggles and to battles, Gerard Healy. You're very welcome, Gerard. What about the tactics out here tonight?
Well, it's going to be interesting, first of all, Colin, to see the field placements. I believe David Parkin will probably use what we know in AFL football as wingman. He will play his half-forward flankers up on the wing and the pockets up on the half-forward flank. This is a little bit alien to the Gaelic game, who tend to only play 2 people across the centre. And I believe that he will possibly run a couple of people as interchange players on and off the bench, Possibly the likes of the half-forward flank and the forward pocket will rotate with one particular person on the boundary. So it'll be very interesting tactically.
Gerard, having played this game in previous series, are you expecting this to be a hard physical clash here tonight?
Well, it's going to be hard in two ways, Don. You've got the physical clash, which is more important now with the advent of the tackle, and also what we term lung burn. I think this is one of the hardest running games that I've ever played, and you'll possibly find players will be running 10 or 11 miles out there in the time.
Well, certainly excitement high here as the two captains have tossed, and the players now in the Ireland and Australian teams take up their positions. And Colin, you mentioned earlier, I noticed Jack O'Shea with a black mark under his eye. We might mention again, he hasn't been hit, but he's got that to help cope with the bright lights here.
Yes, and Gerard just mentioned earlier on as well that 3 players are allowed in the centre of the park now, Gerard.
That's right. Initially it was only 2, but now there's 3, and I see that Stewie Lowe's gone into the centre bounce, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him finish up in front of the big sticks.
And also in there's Jack O'Shea being marked by John Gastiff. And Jacko looking around, and Jack is going to take up a position as we would know it as a right half forward. But the referee, Brian Sheehan, out there, a very experienced man in Australian rules, getting ready to throw it in. And we start, and the game is on, and straight away it's the Australians through that big man. Stewart gets the ball away, but it comes down to Danaher. Danaher with a long raking kick up this side of the park. And of course there'll be a lot of punching and going for it, but back there go the Irish defenders. They get it and they fight their way and palm their way out of trouble. And as you can see, very, very quick, very skillful. A long ball right down the middle, but there's no one at home down there. And the man who comes out from it is the man from County Meath, Bernie Flynn. Bernie Flynn out here to the far side, forward to Jacko. Can Jack O'Shea pick it up? No, he can't. He's been smothered by a couple of the big Australian defenders, and that was Brett Stevens blocking it down, but it goes back to the little man from Geelong. That's Neville Burns, and he clears it up into the middle of the park. Across comes big Mark Grimley, but he can't stop it, but the Irish rescue it. Now it's back to Grimley. Big long kick again from him, but to no one, and there's a mark taken there, but they run it away again to Burns. Burns up into the attacking position for the Australians, but a good clean catch up there by the Irish defenders, and that is the man from Derry, Tony Scullion. A long kick from him, but the ball bouncing loose, but it comes to one Irishman who finds another one loose out on this side, and that's the number 2, Keith Barr. Long ball into the goal, no one there except the goalkeeper Campbell, and he clears it. There's Hannah, the man we said would be easy to distinguish over on the far side. Hannah, a long clearance, and the ball going out over the sideline there, and that'll be Irish ball.
Comment, Gerard Healy.
I noticed that Stewie Lowe has gone down to full forward, and he's going to present a few problems for Stephen O'Brien, as he's such a big man.
Well, now the ball is back in play and in towards the centre of the ground. Opportunity for Ireland to come into attack again. It's onto the half-forward line. A good handball by O'Shea. Not quite accurate. It comes out to the centre wing towards Keith Barr. Barr is dispossessed. Good play, Gastev. Gastev of Australia getting a handball going down towards the forward pocket position. Coming in and trying to get it again is McGuinness, who initiated that forward move. Good play, McGuinness. Got a bit of a heavy knock. The whistle's gone. What's going to happen? A free.
Holding the ball, I think, a little bit too long, Don, but the Australians are back again into a scoring position, and that ball, I think, well, it looked from up in our position as if it went off an Irishman, but it didn't, and that's Graham Wright, I think, wearing the number 11, or is it?
No, it's Dean Anderson.
It's Dean Anderson.
Well, now the ball is back in play again, and out on the flank it's Terry Danaher, the Australian captain, getting the ball in towards the forward pocket. The kick is a cross goal. Opportunity here for Australia. They have the ball deep in attack, and it's picked up and kicked in here by Gavin Brown in towards the full forward zone, punched away defensively. Opportunity here for Bruns. He picks the ball up for Australia. A high kick. It's offline, and it's through for 1 point.
Yes, well, it'll be very interesting to see how quickly the both sides settle down, and a lot of interchanging. As I said earlier on, I didn't think that the Irish side would line out anything the way that Eugene McGee gave it to us, and neither did David Parkin line up his side like that. As Gerard has been saying, big the big men have gone up into the attack, and Stuart Lowe is up there as a full forward on Stephen O'Brien from Cork. Up they go, high in the middle. It comes down to the Irish number 19, and that's Pat O'Byrne, the big man from Auckland. But charge down, and the Australians come away with it again. A long clearance up. There's a good mark taken up there by Stuart Lowe, but he pushes it away out onto the far side, and good opportunity for the Australians to score here, and they do. And that's gone over, so that's an over from Dean Anderson. And we have one over and one behind, Gerard.
Yes, well, it's interesting to see that Jack O'Shea's being tagged by Johnny Gastev, one of the fittest players in the league. And if Australia will win this, he's going to have to keep a real good close watch on one of Ireland's danger men.
Well, now there's Jack O'Shea making position well and pulling the mark in very safely on the centre wing, and he swings play with his kick across to the Irish half-forward line. And Ireland coming deep into attack now on the flank position on the outer side. The ball is taken here by Daly in towards goal, offline. What a great piece of play. Magnificent tactics by Jack O'Shea.
Yes, it was good to see Jack involved there. He moved the ball along over to the offside of the ground quickly to open up the play for Ireland, which resulted in that score.
Now here's O'Shea coming into play again. Gee, he's dominating in the first 5 minutes of play. Down to Timmy Stein. Stein's tackled here by Danny Frawley. Loses the ball on the ground. Barr is in there, number 2 for Ireland. Kicked off the ground by Neville Bruns. Bruns to half forward. Opportunity here for Pat O'Byrne. O'Byrne kicking the ball along the ground, getting it down to a teammate there. Tackled, the ball on the ground. Ireland getting it back. Good defensive play to the half-forward line. And the mark is taken here by Martin Gavigan. That strong player, Gavigan, from County Donegal, gets the ball moving wide to the outer side. And the mark over here taken by Daly. Daly playing well, moving it quickly in towards the forward pocket. And it's Bernard Flynn. Flynn swinging play back. O'Shea up high. Can't mark it. Millen Hanna in defence. And Australia cleared the ball away. And the ball is taken by Stevens.
Yes, indeed. They were very lucky there, because that was something that the Irish worked on last night, knocking the ball down, not trying to catch it when the ball got into the goal area or in around the goal area. But Australia on the attack, and good defensive work up there by Noel Roach, the little man from Clare, the army man. But good defence again. The Irish coming out of defence well. A lot of men spare in midfield, and they bring it away again. This is Mark Grimley again taking it down, and now back to the big man from Wicklow, but that's a bad pass from O'Byrne, and it goes out over the line, aimed for to find little Bernie Flynn, but screwed off his foot. Kick cleared by the Australian number 23, and that's Stephen Wright, a man who plays with Sydney Swan's side. But the Irish get it back again. They're in control down this side of the park. Hanna coming across to tackle the Irish players, and Hanna picks it up, bounces it once, runs across. He's got a few people available on the far side. He kicks a long ball up to Mitchell up there, but Mitchell and the Irish defenders fighting for it, and it's Ireland come away with it again. And that's inside to Jacko, and Jack O'Shea from that distance. And they're looking, the umpires are looking, and they think that's the point. A good over for Jack O'Shea.
Well, Jack O'Shea started the game in fine fashion, and he's shaping up as a danger man from Australia. It wouldn't surprise me to see maybe Parker and use O'Donnell on him.
Well, now the ball is back in play. Australia have it quickly into attack. O'Donnell has it in front of goal, but he's under pressure, and consequently the ball is forced wide. And it's into the pocket position here, and now kicked away by Comer from the full-back line. And Ireland now, bad play. Good smother there by Stuart Lowe. Keeps the ball in the attacking zone, but picked up defensively down there for the Ireland team by O'Brien. He gets the ball moving upfield, and the ball coming back again, and now kick forward again on towards the half-forward flank position. Australia running in numbers here. Opportunity for O'Donnell, the player from the Essendon Football Club. The whistle's gone, and the ball is going Ireland's way. Right on the centre wing, and it's kicked forward now by Pat O'Byrne onto the half-forward line, and the mark is taken here by Kevin O'Brien, the Ireland player who did so well in the warm-up game in Albury last week. He was a danger player then. He's shaping that way again tonight. In it comes Campbell, knocks the ball away defensively, the Australian goalie. Stevens getting it across to Millen Hanna. Millen Hanna, the Australian player, handballing it to Danny Frawley, and a long kick by Frawley. Swings play back into the the centre of the ground. Australia coming down the field, but Ireland not to be denied. The ball is kicked back again by Roach of Ireland, and the mark is taken here by O'Brien. He's the danger player.
Yes, indeed, he's the one they have to watch, and John Gastiff ran in and gave him a nasty shoulder charge. Brian Sheen wants a word with the man from the Brisbane Bears, and he's going to ask, I think, Kevin O'Brien to advance again, maybe. Maybe they're all having words out there. That's the one thing that Brian Sheen will not put up with. But here's a good opportunity for Ireland and for the man who's a real danger player, the Kevin O'Brien from Wicklow, and that's a good kick from Kevin O'Brien, and another over. Gerald Healy.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see David Parkin already ringing the changes. He's interchanged David Bain with Neville Bruns, and I'm sure that those two will probably be a couple for probably the whole night.
Well, now the ball is taken here by Jack O'Shea again. Jacko's at half forward, but he's being penalised here. And the kick is going Australia's way across their half-back defensive line, and it's kicked forward now for Australia by Brown down towards half forward. Australia coming into attack, picked up over here for Australia, and in towards the forward pocket. Opportunity down there was lost by Mitchell, and this allows the ball to be kicked away again by Pat O'Byrne, doing well, and he gets the ball into the centre, but the ball has to come back.
Yes, indeed, a pity. That was a very good movement by the Irish, with Martin Gavigan going to break in, the Donegal school teacher, but that's a very good mark up there by Stuart Lowe. And as Don has told you, this man is pretty good around the danger zone, and another good mark further on. This gives the Australians a very good chance of getting at least another score, Gerard.
Yes, well, Stuart Lowe and Gavin Brown have just coupled there, and those two are playing as a dual full forward up on the full forward line, and already they're presenting some problems for the Irish side as we see Gavin Brown line this ball up. Kicks it pretty true, and he's put it over the boundary, and that's a good score from Gavin Brown.
On the scoreboard now, it's Ireland 2 points and Australia 1 over 1 point. So it's 7 to 2. Australia leading by 5 points.
Yes, and both sides have settled down pretty well. A lot of movement around the park, very, very difficult from our high up position in the commentary box to try and distinguish the players, Jared.
Yeah, well, it looks like Malaxos and Couch are about to interchange, and those two players will remain in the centre, I'd imagine, for the whole of the game as they interchange now, and Australia picks up the ball through Michael Mitchell. Don.
Well, now the ball is handballed across towards the running Australian player there, Johnny Gastev, and down towards the flank position, picked up here by Tony McGuinness. Tony McGuinness, an experienced international football player, in towards the forward pocket. No one able to take advantage of it. The ball was knocked away from Stuart Lowe, but Lowe is going to get the free kick, and he moves the ball quickly in towards the goal square, and Gavin Brown, that mercurial player for Collingwood, has taken the mark.
Yes, indeed, but I think the referee is going to call them back, Don, before that ball went in and Gavin Brown gathered it. As you can see, Paddy Collins, the Meath referee, called him back, and he says he's run across the mark, and he's now awarded a free kick to Ireland because, well, has he?
Yes, it'll be a ball up because the players aren't allowed, once they've established that they're going to take a free kick, which is a mark in our code, they must then not play on, which he did.
Stuart Lowe seemed a little bit nonplussed there. He wasn't too happy either, having words to the referee.
Well, Paddy Collins is used to that. He's a very, very experienced referee and official in Ireland. That's Shea tussling for the ball, and it's going to be the Brisbane man to try and smack it in. And he puts it across the park. Here, gets it back again. Nice hand fist. Martin Gavigan coming across to try and take it away from him into the goal area, and cleared by the Irish defence and down into the centre of the field again. This is where all the action is happening, down in the middle of the park, where Jack O'Shea was having a very good game, but it now seems that the man with the left leg that I talked earlier on about, well, that wasn't too good off the left leg for McGuinness.
No, but he's having a fine game so far, McGuinness, and really establishing himself in this game.
Now there's a short pass upfield, and the ball is taken over here by Daly of Ireland in towards the centre of the ground. Jimmy Steins coming out, and Steins has the ball at centre field and now drives Ireland deep into attack. That's all Australia here. Gastev can't pull the mark in. The ball is knocked across. Opportunity here for Bernard Flynn, and what's he done? He's certainly scored.
He's put it over, but The referee was talking to Bernie Flynn about that. But another score for Ireland. So they've calling their way back, pushing the back there, and a free kick to Australia.
The margin now, Colin, 2 points. Australia 7, Ireland 5.
Free kick to be taken by Brett Allison from North Melbourne, 22-year-old, and Australia on the rampage again. That's David Bain from Brisbane. A long ball up into the forward line, and the Irish defence tackling the player. Did he make the mark? I think they're going to award that mark. They did to Stuart Lowe. He puts it across, but Seamus O'Brien, or Stephen O'Brien, the Irish full-back, can't do much about that, and another over for Australia.
That was kicked by Stephen Malaxos, the captain, Colin, of the West Coast Eagles, playing out of Perth in the AFL. And now the ball quickly back into play again. Australia irrepressible here. Dean Anderson, the Australian player, driving it into attack. Not a good kick, and it's over the line before Comer can get to it.
Yes, Pat Comer told me earlier on today he was looking forward to this game very much, and he was moving out and around Melbourne, taking a lot of photographs. He's a man who is into the photography business, the goalkeeper for Ireland.
On the scoreboard now in the Australia-Ireland first test match at AFL Park, Waverley in Melbourne, a 5-point advantage to Australia. They're 3-1-10 and Ireland 1-2-5. 5 points the difference, and the ball is back in play. Out to the centre wing, and Ireland now bringing it from midfield into their attacking zone. Jack O'Shea will be the target, and so will O'Brien. O'Brien knocking the ball forward towards Barr, and also Barr getting it back towards Bernard Flynn. Flynn getting it across to Mulholland on the half-forward line. He's tackled. G. Ireland going in hard. There's Jack O'Shea. The whistle's gone again. What a great forward move by Ireland. It deserved better.
Yes, it was a great move by them down this side, and then Alan Mulholland took it up, the 21-year-old from Galway, and combined very well with Jack O'Shea. But Jacko has another chance to actually make the scores level here, Gerard.
Well, Jacko got the free kick there because the Australian player, not only did he sling Jack O'Shea to the ground, he also held the ball to his body as he just puts another one over, and Ireland are getting right back in this game.
Yes, they're back in the game.
Playing with great purpose and determination, Colin. Gosh, I'm impressed with them. But here, Australia now moving the ball forward through Millen Hannah. And Hannah from a very acute angle. That's a great shot in towards goal, but it only manages 1 point.
Well, he'd be very happy with that. That would bring a big smile to Mellon's face. But the Irish again, as you can see, this game doesn't stop. A great mark by the 33-year-old Danaher, the captain of Australia, in the middle of the park. He tries to find the big men up front, but the Irish take it away. But Paddy Collins from Meath has another decision to give, and he's awarded to the Australians, and it's going to be a free to the Australians. Who's going to take this one? And it's going to be Gavin Brown again. Gavin Brown puts it into the big man. Look at Stephen O'Brien and big Stuart Lowe tussling for it up there, and has that ball gone out over? Well, Paddy Collins doesn't say it has, and a little bit of relief for the Irish. There's one or two of the Australian players out there. One of them certainly rubbing it back after a heavy bang, and he seems to have recovered. One of the coaches on and trying to sort them out, Gerard.
Yes, well, David Parkin's got 3 players interchanging from the half-forward flank and the forward pocket, and then one stays on the bench. McGuinness, Ellison and Dean Anderson are doing it on one side, and on the other side it's Bain, Mitchell and Neville Bruns.
Now, Bain was the player who moved the ball in towards goal there, but Australia not able to capitalise on it. Number 12 running in there was Gavin Brown, but it's cleared away by Pat Comer, the goalkeeper for Ireland. Back into the centre, good play by the Ireland skipper, Robbie O'Malley. Out towards Grimley, but equally effective play by Stevens of Australia. Knocks the ball forward on the ground, kicked back for Ireland, in towards the centre. Gathered in here by Terry Danaher, the veteran player from the Essendon side for Australia, to Neville Bruns, but Bruns' kick was indiscriminate, and it's easily taken here by Comer, who gets it across to Daly. Gosh, he's been a good player in the first quarter, dynamic player for Ireland, gets the ball moving, and he takes the handball back in towards Jack O'Shea, number 20 for Ireland, in the centre, and down towards the half-forward line of Martin Gavigan. The ball is knocked away from him, picked up here for Australia, and a handball ball away by Steve Malaxos, across to Stevens. Australia deep into attack. Ireland under pressure, and they get the ball away well into the centre, and it's kicked away by Pat O'Byrne.
Yes, indeed. O'Byrne having a good game, finds Grimley. Grimley, the Irish are combining very well. That's Martin Gavigan, the Irish vice-captain, but his one goes astray. Over onto the far side, but is that one going to go out over the line? Yes, it does. And over there is the Irish captain, wearing the number 1, a very proud man, 25-year-old from Meath, Bobby O'Malley. Bobby O'Malley puts the ball back into play again. Down here, a big tussle going on between the Irish forwards, but they get it. The Irish forwards, to me, at the moment, down a little bit nippy when they get the opportunities, but of course the Australians a little bit taller, able to grab that ball out of the air.
So I don't think either side's placing enough importance on possession. The side that maintains possession in this game will win, and what we've seen happening is the half-back lines both blazing away from both sides, losing the ball. Don.
Well, now on the scoreboard, the margin 3 points, Australia 11, Ireland 8 in the first quarter. 18.5 minutes gone, only about 3 or 4 minutes left to play. Opportunity here for Ireland, a shot towards goal from the angle, not quite accurate enough, and through for another point.
Flynn's being a little bit of a danger man down there in the forward pocket.
Yes, he's playing well.
He's really starting to show some great form down the forward pocket.
We should explain to our Australian viewers, of course, that as soon as the score is registered, the play gets underway very, very quickly, and that's one of the reasons the game is so fast, Jared, and it moves so quickly all the time. You mentioned earlier the amount of yards and miles you run in this game.
Yes, well, I've worked it out that those players that are interchanging are spending 2/3 of the game, and I'd reckon they'd be running about 10 miles in 58 minutes, and that's, at this pace, really hard work. As we see an Irish player having a shot at goal, who'll go for an over here as the net's too far away from about 40 yards out.
That's Val Daly, puts it in. I can tell you that Ireland have brought on Eamon Heary from Dublin. Great chance for Ireland, and there's the man from County Meath. Sticks it over the bar again, Bernie Flynn, and he's got a beautiful left foot.
Ireland giving Australia a great run for their money here as they creep back into the game. The margin now, Ireland in front by a point. They're 12 and Australia 11, and the Australians quickly back into attack down to their forward line, but Comer judging the ball to perfection. Short passes to Robbie O'Malley, who's come right into the game in the last part of this first quarter, and he swings play into the centre. Mulholland has the ball, knocked across to him cleverly. Mulholland has time to steady to the half-forward line, Kevin O'Brien. The ball knocked away from him, Stevens kicks it off the ground. Ireland coming back into attack again. A couple of little short kicks there, and the ball is high into the air. Good play there by Pat O'Byrne. He's a star in the first quarter for Ireland. They have it on their half-forward line, but Neville Bruns comes in for Australia, kicks the ball wide and defensively to the centre wing. Robbie O'Malley, a handball, long raking handball to Roach. Roach now driving Ireland into attack as the siren goes for quarter time. And what a magnificent quarter of football, and a great comeback by Ireland. And the margin, 1 point. Ireland 12, Australia 11.
Yes, indeed. There it's on the scoreboard. Australia 11, Ireland 12, as we come to the end of the first quarter.
And now the second quarter getting underway at AFL Park in Waverley. And on the scoreboard now, the scores are 11. Magnificent night for both sides. Magnificent night here. 1 point correction. Ireland 12 and Australia 11. Some stats from the first quarter.
And in that first quarter, Don, Australia had 48 kicks. They had 20 handballs and 12 marks. And Ireland had 44 kicks. They had 28 handballs and 9 marks. So things very, very tight in that first quarter.
Now some of the individual possession getters. Millen Hannah's had 4 kicks and 4 handballs. Stevens of Australia 6 kicks, and Stuart Lowe has had 4. McGuinness has had 5 possessions. Brown has had 5, and for Ireland, Roach has had 6 possessions. O'Byrne has had 7, and Jack O'Shea started off brilliantly, has had 7, and Millen Hannah, the Carlton player here, 7. G'day, Shannon, as the second quarter is about to get underway.
Jared, what do you think the tactics will be from David Parkin now?
Well, I think David would be pleased with the way the Australians started. I think basically he would have emphasised the fact that they must keep possession of the ball when they're going into the forward line. They've got the big man up there. We see Gavin Brown there now, but Stuart Lowe will come out of the bounce and go forward. as they throw the ball up to start the second quarter.
Yes, and it's away the game goes, and a long punch and box brings the ball up to the Irish defence, but that's Stephen O'Brien, the Corkman, clears it out to Martin Gavigan, but back come the Australians again. The ball knocked down here, and this is Michael Mitchell, and Michael Mitchell with a shot, then that puts Australia back on level terms, and a point for an over, or we would call in Ireland an over, but here we call it a behind.
It was a great tap out by Gavin Brown to set that one up for Michael Mitchell. We should have done more with that shot.
Now there's Robbie O'Malley, the Ireland captain, getting his team moving and getting a handball down to Martin Gavigan. Gavigan, the vice-captain, to the half-forward line, but good defensive play by Gastev, and he gets it across to Stevie Wright. He gets it to the centre wing, and it's over the line, and the kick will go Ireland's way, to be taken by, is it Robbie O'Malley on the centre wing, holding the ball high.
Yes, it is. Irish captain.
And there's Robbie O'Malley's kick. Beautiful kick.
Yes, indeed, and as you can see that Jack O'Shea has moved into a centre-forward position. The ball forced behind by an Australian defender, and that's John Gastev from Brisbane, and that is going to be a free to Ireland. Jack O'Shea running back with the ball, and that's the first 45 we've had in the game so far, Gerard.
Yeah, well, the game, the second quarter started a little bit slower. The pace couldn't keep up as it was in the first when it was very quick. And Jack O'Shea will be attempting probably to lob this in for the high mark.
Yes, and when we take a 45 in Ireland, of course, we can kick it off the ground. That's a beautiful ball coming down, but it's gone and got another score for Ireland with another behind. Good kick from Jack.
Well, now the ball coming back into play again from Matthew Campbell, the goalkeeper for Australia. Oh, getting up high there, an Australian player. That was Terry Danaher getting up extremely high, but he infringes.
I think he was on someone's back, Don.
I think he was. He was shoulder high, and the kick is going to his counterpart, Robbie O'Malley, who's now coming into the game well for Ireland. Kicks the ball down to full forward, knocked away defensively. Picked up here for Ireland in front of goal by Martin Gavigan. In towards goal, offline a little, but it's a point to Ireland. Good, strong play by Gavigan, the Donegal player. And Australia now bringing the ball upfield. Stevie Wright takes it, swings play down towards Millen-Hanna, but he's outplayed, and a mark is taken in front by Mulholland. He's been a good player. Mulholland kicking the ball wide, an Ireland player on his own on the outer side.
It's Flynn.
Bernard Flynn, good player in the first corner. Bernard Flynn swinging play in towards the full forward position, and a mark to Ireland. Right in front has been taken here by Eamon Heary.
Yes, Eamon Heary from Dublin, and he's a defender, but he's up there in attacking position, and Eamon Heary can certainly score from there. Good left foot from Eamon Heary. Well, was I talking? I talked too quickly, didn't I? Eamon Heary puts it away behind and puts me out of business as a commentator. Gerard.
Well, I was interested to see that Ireland followed a tactic where we're using Australian rules of centering the ball into the high possession area, as we see another Irish point, and we'll see Matthew Campbell quickly move the ball into attacking once again.
Matthew Campbell, the fullback for the Australian team, plays for the Brisbane Bears. Ireland leading by 2 points. An exciting game here. Second quarter well underway. 3.5 minutes gone. The ball is taken in the centre now by Dean Anderson. It gets it across here eventually to Bruns, Neville Bruns of Australia. Brownlow medal winner to Danny Frawley. Frawley in the centre, getting it back for Australia in towards the full forward zone. Opportunity here. Two Australian players spoil each other, and Ireland will clear the ball away, and it's knocked away there by Scullion, and eventually comes across to Daly as it's given to him by Eamon Heary. And Daly now, good player in the game, getting it down to the Ireland half-forward line on the outer side.
Yes, but again they lose out, and it's another build-up by the Australians here with Tony McGuinness again, as we said earlier on, proving to be a very successful player in the middle of the park. Here's a great opportunity for them over on the far side. What's he going to do with it? It hits the post and comes back off there, so the escape for the Irish as they tussle back there in defence for it, but they're going to clear it, are they? Two big Australians, three of them trotting around as the Irish try to get it out of defence. That's the number 6 for Australia, and Michael Mitchell, he puts it across to Hannah. What can Hannah do from there? A long kick from Hannah, and the umpires consult and say that's an over.
Well, just for the crowd, Colin, in Australian rules, if the ball hits the post, it's end of the play, but in this game, if the ball rebounds back into the crowd or back into the field, well, it's play on.
Well, Millen-Hanna certainly proving to be a very good player for the Australian team, and the Aussies take the lead again. Very close encounter, 15-14, 1 point the difference. In the second quarter, 5 minutes of time have elapsed as we wait for Pat Comer now to put the ball back into play from the Irish defensive zone. A little bit unsure as to what he's going to do, and looking for some sort of a lead upfield. And Coma coming in. This will be a boomer of a kick. There it is.
Up onto the halfway line. He was trying to get the players out of the way so he could clear them. Referee Brian Sheehan up there blows, gives a free back there, and John Gastiff has to throw the ball all the way back. It goes back to Frawley. Frawley, the vice-captain for Australia, across to the man with the left foot. This is McGuinness, who now joins Adelaide, puts the ball down into the Irish defence, but they come away with it, but they lose out again. But back there, they recover it, and it comes out to Jack O'Shea. Jack O'Shea makes the mark, tacked by John Gastiff from Brisbane, swings him around. Jacko doesn't like it, and because he's been over-tackled, of course, there's a 15-yard penalty again there, Jared.
Well, for mine, Jack O'Shea played on, and I think the umpire interpreted that one incorrectly, but as Ireland takes it quickly into attack, we see a big kick by the right footer, and it's just gone over for an over, which is 3 points.
Yes, Ireland go back in front again. The game swinging from end to end. And the one thing I can't stat down is to try and keep up with all the changes that are taking place on the sideline. As Gerard so rightly has pointed out, the Australians seem to be pocketing with 3 men all over the place. But there's the score on our screen at the moment. We're into the second quarter. Australia 15, Ireland 17. And there's Larry the Leprechaun as well, bringing the luck for the Irish.
Well, great tactics here. We'll comment on that in a moment from Gerard Healy, the coaches, Eugene McGee and David Parker, bringing the changes. The ball back in play again on the outer side, and running in to try and get it, the Australian player Paul Couch, and he'll take the kick on the centre wing. Lots of coaching moves, Gerard Healy.
Yes, well, there's, as I said, there's a couple of players have been coupled all day. Malaxos has changed a number of times with Paul Couch. McGuinness and Allison and Dean Anderson continue to do the ring of Rosie as the action continues to go on.
Now the ball is on the half-forward line, and a good knock away here by Jack O'Shea. Ireland deep into attack here. Daly has got it. He's been a great player. Back to Jack O'Shea. Back to Daly, but good defensive play by Stevens, and he takes the ball away for Australia. It's a pretty heavy knock, and he's going to get the resultant kick. Brett Stevens, a little bit dangerous. He kicks the ball backwards, but he finds a teammate on the last line of defence, and Australia now kicking the ball back defensively. That's John Worsfold in towards the centre. Taken out here for Ireland again, and kicked back towards the centre wing. The target is Jack O'Shea. Johnny Gastiff tries to get it away from him. O'Shea kicks it in towards Robbie O'Malley in the centre of the ground. Terry Danaher's there, and Terry Danaher gets the free. Very close. Ireland leading by 2 points across field, and the mark is taken over here for Australia by Michael Mitchell. Mitchell's very speedy, gets the ball moving quickly, but the ball has got to come back. Couch had it, but he can't go on.
Yes, I think Ireland were lucky there that John Couch got it because Brian Sheehan had blown the whistle, the umpire, and there's a chance for Mark Mitchell. He's trying to find big, and a good mark by Stuart Lowe, and he fell over one of the Irish there. What can I say that? He fell over one of the Irish legs. Stuart Lowe from the St Kilda club, and he's what, halfway? He's about 30 metres, 35 metres out. What can Stuart Lowe do with this? A long kick, and is it good? Yes, it is.
I'm sure his St Kilda fans would be wishing he could kick that accurately all season.
Yes, he's an indifferent kick, Gerard, in club games, but that over has given Ireland, rather Australia, the lead again. They've gone to 18, and they're 1 point in front of Ireland on 17. The ball back in the centre wing. That was Bernard Flynn trying to get it across to Daly. Stevie Wright of Australia chips in and gets the ball across accurately to the running Bill and Hannah. Hannah of Australia, a high kick under pressure, putting the Australians into attack. Up they go, almost a brilliant mark to Stuart Lowe, and the ball is over the boundary line again. Stuart Lowe, one of the renowned high flyers in the AFL, not able to hang on to the ball on that occasion, and now it's Ireland's kick on the defensive line. Their skipper Robbie O'Malley, a little short chip kick to the centre end looking for Daly. Knocked away here by Bain of Australia, across to Millen Hannah. Hannah, the ball on the centre wing, running beside him, his teammate there calling for the ball, Malaxos. It's out to the flank position. O'Donnell coming in, wide on the flank position. Australia deep into attack. Up goes Lowe again, knocked away by Coma. In front of goal, Mitchell kicks in, but the whistle's gone.
Yes, indeed, the Irish players a little bit at 6s and 7s because they were hearing whistles, and I think Pat Comer in the Irish goal, the Galway man, stopped because he was looking to see what Brian Sheehan was blowing the whistle about, and as you can see, here's Mitchell who picks the ball up and smacks it in the back of the net, but the goal disallowed. The score still remains Ireland 17, Australia 18. As the ball goes up onto the halfway line, Robbie O'Malley, the Irish captain, tries to put it forward to Bernie Flynn, his teammate. Flynn bustled out of it over there on the far side, and the ball out over the line. Ireland, Bernie Flynn appealing for it.
Yes, well, Stevie Wright did knock that from Bernie Flynn's hands, and fortunately for Australia, the umpire hasn't seen it that way, and Australia maintained possession. Don.
Stevie Wright, one of the veterans for the Sydney Swans Football Club, now kicks the ball for Australia to the centre wing on the outer side. A handball coming across to Tony McGuinness. McGuinness, a renowned speedster and an accurate handballer, gets the ball down beautifully to Millen Hanna. Hanna's playing a great game, but then he mucks it up. He tried to do too much, and then he recovers and kicks it high into the air, lowers up again, and the ball is over the line and out of bounds.
Yes, indeed. I think Ireland were a little bit lucky there that Big Stuart Lowe didn't get his hand to it and hold that ball in the position. But Ireland come away again through Jack O'Shea. Jacko running with it, looking for people up front. He finds one or two, but he sent a long one up. 2 Australians go for it. They collect it, but they put the ball back high up in the air, coming over on this side of the ground. And it's marked again there. And again, as you can see, some of the Australians. And that's Bill Sex, the man from County Kildare, wearing the number 26, the number 24. And he puts the ball back into the Australian defence. Pushed again out by Stuart Wright and Bernie Flynn. And I don't think the two of them are too friendly at the moment, Gerard.
Well, Stevie Wright, as we all know from Sydney, he's a fairly aggressive type. We call him a terrier up there, and he's making Matthew Flynn earn every kick he gets. I think he's tightened up a fair bit as he kicks the ball in close to the goal. But Matthew Campbell takes a safe mark for Australia.
Well, now Matty Campbell, the Brisbane Bears player, kicks the ball back defensively to the half-back line. Jack O'Shea's there somewhere. The Irish player in front taking the good mark is Billy Sex.
Yes, Billy Sex, a banker from Kildare, but he works down in Waterford, I believe.
What's Sex's statistics?
He's 27 years of age and he's 6 foot tall, and that's a bit one that was screwed off his leg, Gerard.
Interesting vocabulary.
Jimmy Stone's a chance. And a good kick in towards goal there by Martin Gavigan. And now the Irish at the front again. Anybody's game, Colin.
Yes, indeed. There's Martin Gavigan, the Irish vice-captain, and there's the score. Australia 18, Ireland 20. Australia 5 overs and 3 behinds. And that ball collected by Heary in the centre of the field. Up forward again. He finds O'Brien. O'Brien, the sharpshooter. Oh, what a great shot and what a great save by the goalkeeper. Oh, that was a miraculous save by the goalkeeper because that ball had everything in it, all the power that O'Brien could muster. He slammed that ball and a great, great save by the goalkeeper.
Well, that's why Matthew Campbell's been brought down from Brisbane. He's renowned as one of Australia's greatest players of this game, and he's just saved his side 6 points because that was by all accounts, that was going to be a 6-pointer.
Oh, Kevin O'Brien could see the back of the net bulging there, and what a great save. Australia back in possession. This is John Gastiff from Brisbane. The number 19, as Don pointed out, one of the fastest men around the park, up into the centre of the field, and a good mark there by Brett Stevens. Stevens, a man ahead of him. That's the number 2, and that's his vice-captain. And he gives the ball to Danny Frawley, a long one up in the air. That one nearly reaches the top of the mountains as the ball runs down here on this side of the park into the centre. Tussling and bustling in there. What has referee done with that? He said that the Irish player there, Tony Scullion, had fouled Brown, and a kick here and an opportunity for Australia, Jared.
Well, once again we see Gavin Brown playing in front as he does always for his club Collingwood, and outmanoeuvring his opponent from Ireland, which has set up a fairly easy shot for him for goal. As he kicks it long, what's he scored? That's a 3-point over. As Australia hit the front.
Well, it's point for point, over for over here, as we move to the 14-minute point. Yeah, this is the second quarter, and on the scoreboard now, 1 point the difference. Australia 21, Ireland 20. And in possession at the moment on the half-back line is even Heary. Heary now moving the ball quickly into the centre. Opportunity for Robbie O'Malley, playing a great captain's game for Ireland. He's out on the centre wing, has time to steady, and delivers the ball down to half-forward. And the Ireland player knocking the ball back cleverly. Gastiff is there under pressure from Daly as he runs in. But Gastiff clears the ball out to the running Millen Hanna on the centre wing. He can't keep the ball in play.
That was a very good interception by Gastiff there, because Kevin O'Brien again from Wicklow was starting to bear down on the Australian goal. But Ireland back in the attack again. The ball up to O'Brien, but he can't hold on to it, and it's cleared out to this side of the park. And that's Neville Bruns, the little man, running with it, being chased by Paul Curran. And that's interesting to see Paul Curran on the park. I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a moment as the Irish clear the ball out of the fence. And Curran is going to follow in his father's footsteps because he's now on the park playing in a test match, and his father, Eamon Curran, was out here and played in test matches as well. So that's a great honour for the young man from playing in this game. The young man from Dublin, 21 years of age, but his father played for Meath out here as far as I can remember. And of course the words of the great Peter McDermott that we saw this morning, Gerard. Australia back on the attack again through their captain Danaher. Danaher fires the ball up front, but that's taken away by the Irish defence, but lost again by the Irish defence, and quick hands by the Australians. And that's a very good score, very, very quick, very, very positive.
And that was Dean Anderson, the Hawthorn player, putting the ball through for another score for Australia. A very close encounter here. 16 minutes gone. Coming up in this corner as the ball is taken here by Daly. Been a very good player for the Ireland team. Kicks it to half forward. Taken over here by Jack O'Shea, the legendary Jack O'Shea, into the full forward zone. Kevin O'Brien, danger player, quick handball. That comes across to Bernard Flynn. Flynn over the top and over. Good play, great teamwork.
Yes, well, that should never have been dropped by the Australian player there, but it's amazing now how quickly this game can change from back to attack. And we saw Ireland kick that goal from probably only 3 seconds played.
Yes, indeed, and there's another good mark. The two teammates there from me, the captain, Bernie O'Malley, and he finds Bobby O'Malley, and he finds Bernie. Flynn with a good foot, and that's a good kick from him, and it's gone for a behind. So another point for Ireland, and more scores from Bernie Flynn.
Well, Ricky Jackson's just interchanged with David Bain, and David Parkin will continue to use his interchange players. Australia goes into attack.
Now the ball is taken here by Gavin Brown. Gavin Brown, a Millen Hanna, one of the best players for Australia tonight, in towards God, and it hits the post. And of course in this game the ball rebounds back into play, so it's not a score. Picked up here in the pocket by Neville Bruns. Bruns into full forward. A good mark taken in defence for Ireland, right on the last line of defence.
Yes, and Tony Plunkett clears it out to this side to Jack O'Shea, but Jack can't control it, and that goes out over the sideline. Ball to Australia, they're number 10, and that's Brett Allison, the North Melbourne player, 22 years of age, and big as well, 5'11". He fires it in there, and there's a great catch from Stuart Law, but he doesn't like the attention, and there could be a little... that was Stephen O'Brien, and Stephen O'Brien from Cork, an All-Ireland medal winner this year, and they're going to try and sort it out, but Stephen didn't mean anything by it, and the referee has decided that Stuart Law overreacted there, Gerard.
Well, I think he may have done a little bit. He should have kept his hands by his side, but it's great to hear the crowd getting involved in this game, Don.
Oh, the crowd is building up enormously here, and they're very right behind these two great sides as the ball comes down towards the centre wing, and a good mark for Australia taken over the centre wing, a little bit down to the defensive line by Danny Frawley, the Australian vice-captain and St Kilda footballer, down towards Millen Hanna. A ball knocked away by O'Shea. O'Shea showing great courage, standing his ground, and then O'Shea running in to take the handball from Steins into the full forward line. Australia kick it away through Stevie Wright out to the centre wing. Opportunity over here as the ball is picked up now by O'Donnell down to Australia's half forward line. Danaher's there, can't do anything with it. The ball is picked up and given across to the running Pat O'Byrne. O'Byrne loses possession. Australia get it again in the centre. Danny Frawley, a handball to the Australian half-forward line. Can the Australians convert here? The ball is running downfield with Dean Anderson. Anderson into an open goal. Out of bounds.
Well, interestingly, we haven't seen much of Jim Steins, who we would have expected to be one of Ireland's better players. He's been well held by Danny Frawley at the moment, who's doing a terrific job.
Gee, Colin, the Irish community are out in force here tonight in Melbourne.
Yes, indeed. They're turning up late, but they're very vocal, and they're giving the Irish side great support. As Pat Comer, the goalkeeper from Galway, 5'11", a man who's interested in filmmaking. Well, he's interested at the moment in defeating Australia in this first test match. A long ball from Jack O'Shea up onto the forward line, and there's Wright and Bernie Flynn. They're having a great battle over there. We'll get more about that in a moment as the Australians come back on attack, and that ball gone out over the sideline. The score at the moment, Ireland have scored 26 points, Australia 22. The Irish clear the ball. That's a long, long ball up to this side of the field. Gastiff going back for it. O'Brien comes out for it. And the little man from Wicklow is taken out of the play by Gastiff. But in the meantime, here he comes in to rescue it for Ireland. They're on the floor. And that ball is knocked out of play by the number 15, John Worsfall from West Coast Eagles. He's a 22-year-old man. Ireland back on the attack. Good mark taken inside by the number 10, Val Daly, as Donna has pointed out. He's having a stormer of a game, this man Val Daly. But there's a bit of trouble going on up in the forward line, and the referee, Paddy Collins, has gone up there to sort it all out.
Yeah, Johnny Worsfall's just asking Tommy Carr what he had for breakfast this morning, and I don't think he really agreed with him because he's giving him a bit of physical stuff.
Yes, well, things hotting up here. It's becoming, well,
Paddy Collins was taking someone's name. Someone reported.
Yeah, well, John Worsfall, I think he let one fly there, and the Irish weren't too impressed with it. But we all know Johnny's a fairly aggressive type of player, but we're not going to see the advantage of that with Ireland taking possession of the ball.
Well, it's Kevin O'Brien, the star Irish player, but he's a pretty tough boy, Colin. He's back on his feet.
He certainly is, and Kevin will give as good as he's taken over there, I'll tell you that much. The Irish forwards to lose out again, but so do the Australians. A lot of mistakes coming in the middle of the park as we run down towards the half-time whistle. And there it is. There is the hooter that goes for half-time with the fabulous first half, 2 quarters with the score. Australia 22, Ireland 26. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the AFL Park here in Melbourne. Half-time in the first Test match, and the score at half-time: Ireland 26 points, Australia 19. Don Hyde, some of the statistics behind those scores for us.
Yes, Colin, very interesting. Ireland have had 92 kicks and 53 handballs and 22 marks, and Australia 90 kicks, 37 handballs and 21 marks. And Gerard Healy, interesting to note that Ireland has had about 20 more handballs than Australia in that first half.
Yes, well, they're flicking the ball around to each other, Don, and they're playing a possession game. I think the Australians are falling for the trap of trying to kick the ball too long. And because we haven't got as great a control over the ball as we have our own, we're losing possession, especially off the half-back line. They're driving it forward, and it's not hitting the mark. Therefore, Ireland's getting possession.
Now the significant players for both teams up until half-time, just before the third quarter gets underway.
Well, I think Daly's playing a great game for Ireland, a real captain's game, as they say. O'Shea can't be denied either. He's had a big battle with Gastev, but he's probably taking the honours there at the moment. And little Flynn and Stevie Wright are having a terrific duel. I thought Flynn was the dominant one in the first quarter, but Stevie Wright's fought back fairly courageously, and he's certainly nowhere near as quick as Flynn, but I think he's read the play a hell of a lot better in that quarter. For Australia, I think Milan Hanna has been sensational at the moment. Obviously, he stands out with his lack of the hairy stuff. Stephen Wright, as I said, is having a good tussle. McGuinness has been he's been in and about there most of the day. Terry Danaher's also doing a fine job, and who can forget Matthew Campbell's save? What a terrific exhibition of courage in that goalmouth, and I'm sure his eyes were well and truly alight when he saw that ball coming at 100 miles an hour.
Well, there's his counterpart there, Pat Comer, and he's playing well.
Well, interestingly, there hasn't been a net scored, and possibly that'll be the difference between the two sides, who can score the first net.
And what a great game Jack O'Shea's having, number 20 there for Ireland.
Well, he's one of the fittest athletes, I'm sure, in the world, and I've got nothing but the greatest respect for Jack. He was 33 years old when I played him in 1984, and surprisingly, he's still 33 years old. So I don't know what's happening over there, Colin. Maybe you'll be able to fill us in.
Jack has stopped the clock in Kerry. Yes, he's decided not to count anymore, he said.
Well, he's had 12 kicks, 6 handballs, and 1 mark, and he's a fantastic athlete, as I say.
Well, there's referees in the middle, Paddy Collins from Meath and Brian Sheehan, the local man, and they've done a very, very good job, because we actually have only noticed them once or twice in the game, so they've been excellent umpires. Game ready to start. Brian Sheehan throws it in. Up they go for it. Ireland the first to get a hand to the ball, and Brian Sheehan doesn't like someone up on someone else's back, so it's a free kick to Australia. Australia take this free kick over here to McGuinness. McGuinness tries to find someone up front. A good mark taken up there. And
Terry Danaher playing in front as he always does, Colin.
Yeah, Terry Danaher. And can Terry kick it from there, do you think? Terry Danaher, the Australian captain, right into the goal. And Pat Comer comes out, grabs that ball, looks around, finds someone to pass it to, and he does. Over on the far side to the number 25 in that Irish side. And that's Jim Steins back there. What's he doing? I thought he was an attacker, but he's back there in the defence at the moment.
Well, Jimmy Steins started in the ruck at the opening bounce, so maybe they've moved him onto the ball. Rumour at the start of the game was that he had a fairly sore knee, so maybe that was the reason he started up forward.
This is Brett Stevens from the Fitzroy Club. A long kick over on the far side of the field. A big crowd in here at Melbourne to see this game. Taken down there by the Irish, and a good mark here in front of us, and that one taken again by the man of the moment, Jack O'Shea, having a real cracker of a game here. Jack O'Shea from Kerry, long ball into the goal mouth, and they're tussling in there for it. O'Brien fails to get a hold of it, and it's cleared out by the vice captain Danny Frawley up onto the halfway line. A bit of shoulder charging with no ball around, and Hannah doesn't like the idea that Alan Mulholland was going to run away with the ball, but they give it back to the Australians eventually. A little bit slower in the second half, and we certainly were expecting that. There's one boot on the ground at the moment. Someone is without a boot. This is John Gastiff onto the left foot, the man from Brisbane. Good mark taken up in front, and that's big Stuart Lowe. And Stuart Lowe has run away from the mark, or has he? The big St Kilda man. He was able to out-jump Stephen O'Brien from Cork, the Irish full-back. And Lowe with the kick, and where is that gone? It's gone. Has it gone wide, or has it gone for a behind? Yes, gone for a behind. So the score just into the second half. They closed the gap a little bit. Ireland 26, Australia 20. Don.
Thank you, Colin. And here's Pat Comer about to put the ball back into play again from the last line of defence for the Ireland team, who have a well-deserved lead at the moment in towards the centre. And a good mark here taken by big Jimmy Steins, playing for Ireland, but plays for the Melbourne Football Club here in Australia, down to half forward. And the ball is taken here beautifully by Gavigan. Look at Gavigan go. High kick.
Well, that was really a wasted opportunity for Ireland, because they had a free man in the square there, and Gavigan elected to take the shot at goal, and probably a little bit selfish on that occasion.
Now the kick back by Campbell, and Campbell, the Australian goalkeeper, getting it in towards the centre. Ireland leading by 7 points. Here's a mercurial Jack O'Shea with half of his Guernsey pulled off, but he gets a handball away to Steins. Long kick by Jimmy Steins, and 1 point to Ireland, who are attacking incessantly in the early part of this third quarter.
28 to 20 in favour of Ireland as Campbell takes the goal kick, and that's another high ball, nearly as high as the Dandenong Mountains in the background. Ball in centre field, Steins with it, pushes it out for the Irish to start another raid. Good ball down on the far side of the field, and that's to Paul Curran. Curran inside, good interplay by the Irish forward. Here's a chance for Curran, puts it up in the air. They had an opportunity there. There was a man standing right in front, and this is Bernie Flynn over here, and Gastiff. In comes Jack O'Shea. Gastiff decides to put it along the ground to Michael Mitchell. Mitchell punches it ahead of him, and the Australians are able to take it away through Tony Guinness. Tony McGuinness loses out. Big Jim Steins grabs it for Ireland. Back it goes again into the attack, and a great mark by Jack O'Shea. And Jacko should be able to do another bit of more damage to the Australian defence here, and certainly do a little bit good for the Irish scoreboard.
Well, the Irish have taken a leaf out of the Australian book, and they're only playing a two-man forward line, two little fellas in Kevin O'Brien and Flynn, as Jack O'Shea has a shot at goal. It looks pretty good. That's no, it's offline. It's only a point.
Jack's not happy.
Well, he was appealing for a little bit more, but those two umpires back there judged it carefully. Campbell with the long goal clearance up onto the halfway line, and it's not easy to grab a ball over there, as you can see. A bit rough and tough for Val Daly. Loses out. Back to Danaher. Danaher finds a man, but that ball out over the sideline.
You're getting back to that forward line setup. Jim Steins is playing a roving role, roving commission up on the forward line and almost up to the centre. And it'll be a very difficult job for Danny Frawley to keep up with him, as we know the aerobic capacity that Steins has got. I would imagine he'd be able to run Steins off his feet.
Now, Robbie O'Malley, the captain of the Ireland team, who did so well in that second quarter, has an opportunity from midfield to put the ball deep into attack. Ireland coming onto their forward line. Up as Danaher. Courageous effort to mark, not able to pull the mark in. And the ball is taken over here by Mitchell. Mitchell of Australia down to half forward. Knocked away. And back in towards the centre. Ireland into attack again. Can anybody mark it there? O'Brien is down there. So is Jack O'Shea coming in. And the ball is forced over the boundary line. Ireland appealing for the kick.
Well, once again, we see Stevie Wright using his body to out-tussle Flynn and making Australia get the advantage.
That's certainly a great battle all night, Gerard. The battle between Stevie Wright from the Swans in Sydney and Bernie Flynn. No quarter rest to given between the two of them. This is Val Daly. He had a stormer of a first quarter, quiet a bit in the second quarter, but doing very well again. Ireland put the ball down, but Michael Mitchell comes back, right-footed, tries to find the man up in front. He does, but he's tackled from behind, and that's not a good tackle from Bobby O'Malley to McGuinness.
Starting to be a bit more physical, the Irish, I think. Colin, what do you think?
Yes, I think they are. I think maybe McGee has stoked them up at half-time and said, don't stand around. These fellas are going to take it away from you. Here's Terry Danaher. Long kick from Danaher, and that looks very, very good indeed from the 33-year-old captain of Australia.
Set up by a great tap on from Gavin Brown.
Good mark out there by Val Daly again, this Galway man. He's a sales representative, 27 years of age, but having a stormer of a game. This is Bobby O'Malley, the Irish captain, and he certainly played a captain's part. Great ball to Jack O'Shea right up in the corner. He was all alone. There was no one at home to mind him. John Gestiff is there now, confronting him, but Jacko should put another score on the board for Ireland here, Don.
Well, he's played a tremendous game, and the big crowd appreciating the exploits of Jack O'Shea. He's within range of goal, and a big opportunity to at least get a point, or maybe it's an over. What's he done? 1 point.
1 point. Well, you were calling that, Don. There was a big tussle going on in the middle between Flynn and Stevie Wright. That's a great battle, even out of shot at the time.
Yeah, well, Jack O'Shea's had 22 possessions already, and whilst John Gestev is doing quite well himself, O'Shea's probably man of the match at the moment.
Ireland have the advantage. They lead by 9 points at the moment. They come deep into attack again. Up comes Campbell, the Australian goalkeeper. Takes the ball. That was Grimley coming at him. And the handball was Stevie Wright. And he gets it back for Australia to Johnny Worsfold. And he was the player who clashed with Kevin O'Brien in the second quarter. And he kicks it wide defensively for Australia, out of bounds. On the scoreboard now, it's 21
to 38 up there. It looks like it should actually be 30. 30 points to Ireland, 21 for Australia. Ireland with Bobby O'Malley again into the third quarter here at the AFL Stadium in Melbourne. Ireland on the attack. Great ball inside. What a build-up by the Irish. Can they go for goal? Oh, he did. And that was big Mark Grimley. And Mark Grimley had an open goal there. Or was it John Grimley? Now we're in trouble again, Don, trying to distinguish. I think that was John Grimley that time.
I think you're right.
Big John had a chance of a goal for Ireland, but he put it wide. Bruns for Australia, takes it out. And there's John not too happy with himself. Up to Danaher. Danaher over to the far side. The Australians building an awful lot slower this time, Gerard, in this quarter.
Yeah, well, possession-wise, Ireland's clearly been dominating, but Australia would certainly have to look at getting a couple of points on the board, as we see McGuinness really opening up something here now.
Kick by McGuinness in towards goal, but good defensive play by Comer. Right on the last line of defence, and what a game. The big crowd coming alive now as the ball is back in play to the Ireland half-back line, and a handball coming across to the running Alan Mulholland. Mulholland gets a handball onto the forward line over here, and Kevin O'Brien is there, and he may get a penalty, or is it against him for being caught in possession?
He picked the ball up off the ground while he was lying on the ground, and in this game that's an offence.
I think you're going to find that the referee, the Irish referee, Paddy Collins, has given Ireland a free. and he certainly has. Kevin O'Brien, 24-year-old man from Wicklow, works in the Wicklow Council, counts money there. He's trying to count a point for Ireland or some sort of a score here. The ball screws off his foot out to this side of the park, where the Australian vice-captain Danny Frawley picks it up. Inside to Campbell, good play by the Australians. Gesta from Brisbane takes it out for Australia, out onto the far side, where there's plenty of room out there, and the only one out there is little Neville Bruns for Australia. Up ahead, he's looking for someone up there. He's found 1, 2, but 3 or 4 Irishmen coming in. It comes back to Gary O'Donnell. This man has a good foot, but instead it's O'Malley takes it away for Ireland. Over on the far side, he finds Pat O'Byrne, the big farmer from Auckland in Wicklow, and there's all things close and tight over there. Instead it's the little army man who came away with the ball, no Lynch, inside, and there's Paul Kern from Dublin being pulled all away from the ball. A lot of scrambling over there on the far side, and eventually the ball is put along the ground, but then there's a big boot comes to it, and that's from the big full-back Tony Scullion, and Tony Scullion puts the ball out of play.
Well, Gustav probably should have let that ball go out of bounds. It would have been Australia's advantage, but just looking at the game, the tempo really has just jumped immeasurably in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and one feels that Ireland's about to get a real good break on the Australian team.
Well, this is the Ireland captain again. He's playing well, guiding his team well. A short pass downfield, well directed, and the mark is taken here by another man who's doing well, Pat O'Byrne. O'Byrne, half forward line. Ireland leading by 10 points. Into the forward pocket, Kevin O'Brien. The ball is knocked away from him by Worsfold. In towards the pocket, O'Brien comes in at Stevie Wright. The ball is picked up by Val Daly. Daly, a handball to Steins. Kick off the ground. Oh, that was close. That was good play attempted by Bernard Flynn.
Great courage from Matthew Campbell to come out and frustrate the Irish side once again.
As you can see, the war is still going on between Stevie Wright from the Sydney Swans and Bernie Flynn, the man from County Meath. Ball broken down in the halfway position. Out forward to McGuinness. McGuinness has a good left foot, and there's a lone Australian standing inside the big Stuart Law, but he can't pick it up. He had a great advantage because there was no one in the full-back position for Ireland. But Australia get back in the ball, and they put the ball over, far and over, and that's another 3 points.
Well, that was basically through the good efforts of Terry Danaher. As we saw, he didn't try to pick the ball up. He just knocked it out to Gavin Brown, who had a man running wide, but steadied and put it straight over for 3 points for Australia, and a much-needed 3 points.
Well, I can tell you that Bernie Flynn has gone off the Irish side, and they've put young 20-year-old James McCartan from County Down. He's in the fray for Ireland, and he's going to be marked by Steve Wright. And I can tell you that battle that they had earlier on with Flynn is going to continue, because McCartan won't take any nonsense from Steve Wright. Down here in the back, ball up in the middle of the park. That's the Dubliner Barry getting it away, and out on the far side, down to the middle of the park. Here's the Irish team running on. Big John Girvin, and it is John on the ground. Here's the little man from Northern Ireland onto the ball. He's a great little player. He's 20 years of age. Celebrated his birthday out here, and that's a very good score. He's only on a minute, and he's on the scoreboard.
That was Jimmy McCartan. What a great piece of play. And Ireland playing well, came back very well with that counter to Australia's previous overscore. Out to the centre wing, taken over there by Tony Scullion, and Scullion for Ireland kicks it to their half-forward line, but it's Australia's ball over the line, taken here by Gastev. He gets it across to Danny Frawley. Frawley of Australia, half-back, and gets it down with a handball to Couch. Couch gets it back to Gastev, back to Frawley. Frawley now driving Australia deep into attack. The ball knocked away defensively by Stephen O'Brien, out towards the centre wing on the outer side. And now Ireland coming into attack again. A quick handball across to Curran. Curran has to get rid of it quickly, but Ireland are teaming well as they bring the ball down ground. O'Shea is there somewhere, and so is Jimmy McCartan again. Australia under pressure here, picked up by Gavin Brown. A handball to Gastev, and he gives it across to Stevie Wright, and Wright delivers the ball well to O'Donnell. O'Donnell of Australia to half forward, and the mark taken here by Neville Bruns in front of goal.
Yes, well, Stephen Wright has started that attack, and McCartan's just learned a valuable lesson that he may have kicked one goal, but Stevie Wright's gone to work on him, and he's put the mental screws on him already. Neville Bruns is lining up for this shot at goal. And it looks pretty accurate to me, Colin.
Yes, a very good kick from Neville Bruns, and that's bringing the scores a little bit closer together. But as you were saying, Gerard, Wright was having a great battle with Bernie Finn. He's now got to take on McCartan, but Ireland are starting to switch and chop and change play around. But I can tell you that McCartan will leave him for dead if they have to race for a ball, because he's very fast off the mark.
Well, they're playing it well by starting McCartan up in the centre of the ground and making him run towards the goal, in which case you'll probably be able to lose, Stephen, the one-out run.
Yeah.
The mark is taken up here by one of the Grimleys. I would say that's John Grimley. And John Grimley now kicking it deep into the Ireland attacking zone. And down there waiting is Jimmy McCartan. The ball knocked away. Taken here defensively for Australia by Couch. Brownlow medal winner from the Geelong club. And he kicks it diagonally across the ground. Little Ricky Jackson's there. One of the quick players on the Australian team. And a short kick down to Couch. Australia fiddling around a little. And eventually across to Frawley, who is bustled and tackled. And Frawley, a strong player, getting possession again. Putting Australia deep into attack. The ball on the ground, tackled here by Scullion, and Scullion clears the ball away, and in towards the centre now it comes, and Mulholland takes the mark. Bruns standing on his mark, and Mulholland an opportunity now to put Ireland deeper into attack, across to the half-forward line, and Curran loses possession. The ball rebounding back towards centre field again. Hard, tough game as Gastev runs in, and it's over the line. And the margin now is 7 points, Ireland in front. And in the third quarter, 16 minutes gone.
Val Daly with the sideline ball for Ireland, and McCartan's looking for it. He's going to try and run the legs off of Wright, and he does. Great mark by McCartan, and Wright runs into the back of him.
Well, he had to earn that kick, and Stevie made him do everything possible there.
McCartan takes the quick kick down to Jack O'Shea. Good mark from Jack. He lost Danaher in the run. The captain from Australia trying to hold him back. And down there is Paddy Collins, the referee. He says to Jack, you got to take the kick from there. And he pushes Danaher back. Jack O'Shea with a kick. Jacko. Oh, a beautiful kick from Jack O'Shea. Curled it around. Magnificent over from Jack O'Shea. Another 3 points on the Irish score. A great shot. Great kick from an acute angle by Jack O'Shea. He's having his corner of the game. Australia up onto the halfway line. They're tussling for it. They're bustling for it. There's the score on the scoreboard. Ireland lead by 10 points. Australia 27, Ireland 37. The ball out of play on the halfway line. They take it back into play with Gavin Brown into the action. He comes back after a little rest. It comes to the man called Tony McGuinness, who's having a stormer of a game. Bruns to Gastev. Gastev from Brisbane, a long kick, but Comer will take that comfortably. Plays it out to his captain, Bobby O'Malley. Up there in the defence, O'Malley runs past the Australian as if he wasn't there. Long right kick over to this side of the ground. Oh, Jacko couldn't make the mark, but he has got inside the Australian defender. McCartan picks it up. He's got a man running inside. That's O'Brien. A good ball from O'Brien, but Stephen Wright is going to be in terrible trouble here as O'Brien runs on and tries to put the ball in the back of the net, but there's a situation developing out here as we thought it would, and Jack O'Shea certainly doesn't like the behaviour of Stephen Wright, and I think Stephen Wright has got to have a very, very serious talking to, Gerard.
Well, emotions are flying out here now, Colin, and Stevie has probably the Irish side's focusing their frustration on him, but the umpire has brought the ball back, and McCartney will take a free kick from behind the play.
Well, yes, a free kick to Ireland, but Stevie Wright is certainly sticking the elbow in a little bit into the Irish attackers, and the ball from that free by McCartan goes wide.
Well, it's a pretty hard physical game, and it's no game for weak hearts out there. It's a hard physical encounter. Stevie Wright playing it hard, but out there on the outer side, Robbie O'Malley has the ball, but he has to surrender it, I think, to his teammate Jimmy Steins. And what's going to happen here? A little bit of confusion now. Jim Steins getting the kick out on the centre wing.
I'm delighted you said that, Don, because I'm delighted that you and I are up here in the commentary box. I would hate to be out there.
I wouldn't be able to stand the pain, Colin. Into the full forward zone. Opportunity here. The ball is taken by Worsfold. Across to Neville Bruns. Bruns now, a cool handball, and he gets it across to Couch. Couch now putting the ball into attack for the Australian team. And good defensive play again. Ireland playing well across the midfield, and their use of the ball is skillful, and they bring it in towards full forward again. And marked here by Grimley. Grimley, a handball. Oh, it's almost a goal by Curran.
Oh, it went off the upright. Oh, what a great attempt. What a great build-up by the Irish there. Ball cleared out to Brett Stevens on the far side. Ireland may regret that. O'Malley makes a good mark over on the far side. The score, Australia 27, Ireland 38. They're creeping away from them, but this Australian side will never give up and never be beaten. Good ball down into the pocket. They're in there. They're hustling for it. And it's Gastev comes away, gives it to his goalkeeper, and they run it out of defence. They're still running it out of defence up onto the halfway line, and they're trying to get, well, up onto the 45. They're now over it with the number 9, and they've cleared it from McGuinness. McGuinness across to another man with a very good left foot. It's gone up into defence, but there's the Cork man, Stephen O'Brien, playing a stormer of a game in the back. He clears the ball, takes a bad shoulder charge as he does, and there is the end of the third quarter. And what an exciting battle we've had in this third quarter. Ireland sneaking away a little bit, putting more scores on the board, and you can see the Irish fans over there on the far side very, very happy. There's the score as we get to the third quarter of this game. Australia 27, Ireland 38.
Yes, the Irish boys look terrific. They look to have a winning lead to me. Australia will fight back, but a magnificent spectacle here, and of course this game being played under lights. And now the final quarter underway. Jimmy Steins wins the ball and then gets it out of the centre with a long handball out to the flank and taken here by Curran. Curran now driving Ireland deep into attack in the first minute of play, knocked away defensively by the rugged John Worsfold for the West Coast Eagles. Gets the ball upfield, and now Australia getting it in towards Danny Frawley. O'Shea running under the ball. Frawley kicking it, gets bumped pretty hard down towards the Ireland attacking zone, or rather Australian attacking zone, and Comer, very cool in the crisis, kicks the ball back upfield, and the mark is taken here on the half-back line position for Ireland by Pat O'Byrne.
Yes, big Pat O'Byrne has played a stalwart game for the Irish in defence. The big man from Wicklow Farmer down there, and that's a long clearance up to the Irish attack. A good ball on, a handball on it, a forward ball. What has the referee, Brian Sheehan, decided? He says he has
thrown the ball.
That ball or thrown
it. That's right. He's declared that was a throw, and that young fellow will have to close his fist if he wants that action to be illegal.
Well, it would have been a great opportunity for them because they had a man free up front. This is Wright takes the ball away to Stevens. Back comes over to Stevie Wright on this side. Long clearance down, but that's a good mark by the Irish vice-captain, Martin Gavigan from Donegal, a school teacher. And Gavigan takes the mark, sticks out an elbow, damages an Australian's ribs as he clears the ball up into the Irish forward line. Good ball, it breaks down to Big Crawley. Grimley pushes the ball across, and that's a good point for Ireland, or a good score for Ireland. It's an over. It didn't look from that position to me, but I was trying to distinguish which one of the Grimley brothers it was. Mark taken by back there by the Australian captain, Danaher. And Terry will certainly have to lift his side as Ireland go to 41 points to Australia's 27. A long clearance. Can Australia fight back? The ball back into defence, and the Irish being attacked. But Stephen O'Brien, the Corkman, is never going to give up. Noel Lynch, the Army man, is back there, and he hustles and busses the Australian Michael Mitchell out of it. The ball cleared out to O'Malley, the Irish captain. He's been confronted by Hannah, but he puts the ball onto his left foot, clears it up onto the halfway line. The ball comes down, taken by Danaher, and Australia has to start building again. Don, it seems to be an uphill battle for the Australians from here.
Yes, they've lost their cool, and Ireland playing with great teamwork, great poise at the moment, and with great commitment as the ball is taken here by Martin Gavigan. He gets the handball moving. Jimmy Steins is there, flicks the ball out when he's in trouble, picked up here by Scullion, and he kicks the ball back defensively near the midfield. Over here the ball is taken for Australia by Stevens. Stevens bouncing the ball once and then a long kick into the forward zone. Knocked away defensively. Good play. Picked up here by Mitchell. Mitchell back. Australia fighting hard. They're trailing by 14 points, but there's the irrepressible Jack O'Shea in a defensive role now, kicking the ball into the centre, and it's an Australian kick in the centre of the ground.
Once again, we see Australia just bombing the ball into the forward line, and Gavin Brown was 3 out there.
Couch now gets the ball across to half forward, and the mark is taken by Terry Danaher. Danaher is going to have to lift his side here. Jarrett in towards full forward. Brown it was, but good play. Robbie O'Malley, he's played a tremendous captain's game.
He's had a super game. Everyone in County Meath can be really proud of him. He's had a stormer of a game. He's been everywhere. Robbie O'Malley, the Irish captain from Meath. Long clearance up onto the halfway line. Up they go for it. Ball box back down to Ireland. They can build again. Out onto the far side. Here's little Jimmy McCartan inside him. Good man running on. It is the Irish forward line, and the ball goes up on from Alan Mulholland, and that's another score for Ireland. They creep away again. Another over from them. Good ball. Here's Mulholland, puts the ball inside, and it's Paul Curran who picks it up, and the Dublin man doesn't miss from that distance.
Interestingly, Jack O'Shea's playing a loose man across the back line. Possibly Ireland's just trying to shore up, but they still keep on scoring.
Well, the margin 17 points. Gee, Australia need a big score here. Here they come down the ground. In the centre, Paul Couch, Brownlow medal winner from the Geelong club. A handball to the running Tony McGuinness. McGuinness now playing it down towards Mitchell. The ball is knocked away from Mitchell. Good defensive play for Ireland by Noel Roach. And Roach now flicking the ball to Jack O'Shea. There he goes again. What a magnificent game Jack O'Shea has played. Down towards Bernard Flynn, getting away from Stevie Watt. Beautiful play. Flynn gets around right into the full forward zone. Grimley's there, but Campbell, the goalkeeper,